Hello. Hello, my friends. This is Lada from AstroladaCom. And as it's the beginning of March, this is the beginning of the true astrological new year, because this is when life begins. This is how the ancients celebrated the beginning of the new year. And our guest, Trifon Nikolov, who is a sidereal astrologer. Remember, he doesn't use tropical zodiac, he uses sidereal, which is the actual constellations, is here to tell us the omens of the stars and the planets. What are they showing for the beginning of the year, the new astrological year, March 2024? Because it's pretty much determines the rest of the year, the next 12 months, doesn't it? Hello, Trifon.
Hello, Lada. Hello, everyone. Yes, this is totally true. Uh, since ancient times, the beginning of the year was considered to be a certain date with various ways of calculation happening close to the spring equinox, usually. Usually in March, sometimes it can be even in April. This year is a little earlier in March. It's 11th of March. So we can consider the next 11 days actually to be the last days of the astrological year.
Of the astrology. So is it good now? So it's possibly very likely that many people will be ending certain themes in the next 10 days. And will be
Absolutely, of course.
and like some old programs will be finishing up, so or completing or giving results or something.
Yes, yes. Many people will feel that it's a time of completion or endings, and then the new energy will take place.
Absolutely.
So on the 11th,
So that's on the 11th. Before we start, I just want to let everyone know Trifon is offering us another wonderful discount for the next 2 weeks. It is on a love reading. So if you would like a synastry, or if you'd like to get your horoscope seen, or just for your love life, if you're single and if you want to see with using ancient methods, with primary directions, with actually you use part of what was that, midpoint, not midpoint,
the lots or the Arabic parts.
the lots, yes. Because, for example, I was always like, why am I always attracted to Cancer so much? And in tropical zodiac, and in Sidereal, it's Gemini's. It's my lot of Eros or something was in Cancer there around always the sons of the men I'm attracted to. So I'm like, okay, there, because I had nothing there in Cancer. So it gave me so many answers, a reading like that with Trifon. So it's very, you'll not get another reading like that again. This is not your normal astrologer that he's learned from books on the internet and from courses that are available for everyone. This is someone who is learning from ancient sources, someone who is learning from masters and new discoveries and ancient discoveries. So again, readings with Trifon is like nothing you have seen in an astrological reading with another so-called modern astrologers. So I highly recommend those readings. The big discount. Trifon is still one of the only masters that is so affordable, and he keeps it humble. And he's giving a big discount from $250 to $175 only for the next 2 weeks, because Venus is setting, isn't it? So I'm giving you the word. You can take over. What does it say for the year ahead if the new year is starting and Venus is disappearing?
Yes, all this is related. The new year, the new astrological year starting, and also the condition of Venus. That's why I chose this reading to be the promotional reading this time, because Venus will make very important announcements and phases, movements in the sky, giving great accent upon Venus for the entire year and for this month, and that's why the relation. So going back to the astrological year, right? So the astrological year is about to start on the 11th of March. Why is this? There are different ways, but the most powerful way to define the beginning of the year. Actually, the ancients considered the rising of the moon that is happening to be the closest to the day of the spring equinox. And this they consider to be the actual first day of the year. And this year, this will happen on the 11th of March. So everything that happens in the sky on the 11th of March is actually a sign for the entire year as well. So there are additional ways, but this is, I think, the most effective one and the one that was revered most by the ancients, especially in the places where astrology is coming from. And so the next 10 days, as the moon is waning, people will be tending to finish things, to have results. In the end, in the last 3 days, between 8th and 11th of March, the moon will be invisible. So there will be exhaustion. So I recommend people just to rest more, not to start new things. Even though these are important days, but still they are good more for reflection, spiritual synthesis, meditation, etc., but not to start new projects. And then on the 11th of March, this is changing. It will follow 1 week, only 1 week, I can say, maybe 8 to 9 days, with the exception of the 15th, which holds some not so favorable positions. All those days will be favorable for different things. So people may really have a new start for different projects. Of course, if you want to know exactly which day is good for a specific topic, then you need a reading. But remember this, 11th to 19th, 20th of March are the best days of the month, in many ways. Now about the year, what happens? At the time when the moon is rising, which will happen in the constellation of Pisces, which is in this ancient time, this is the sign of the spring equinox, which means when the spring begins, the sun is in the constellation of Pisces, dear people, if you don't know this. I know that many of you think that Aries begins in this time, but this is not true. You can use some scientific information and you will find out. I think NASA can advise you also on this. So anyway, the moon is rising 11th of March in the sign of the spring equinox. And this is one of the reasons to choose this day for the beginning of the year. But she is not alone. What is happening? 2 days, in some places 3 days earlier, Mercury will also rise. So what we'll have for the sign as a sign for the year is the combination of the moon with Mercury. And Mercury is the planet of communication, the messenger of the gods in the ancient tradition. And of course, Mercury is related to negotiations. In this way, Mercury is the planet that can create better balance in the world, in many ways. So the communication, especially obviously the diplomatic one, will be extremely important for the year. But Mercury also is the planet of trade. Mercury also is the planet of intellectual progress, scientific progress in this case. Maybe you don't know about that, but Pisces is greatly related to mathematics and the exact sciences. So Mercury gives a sign that this will be a great year for scientific breakthrough in some areas. And if you remember, I have checked the ancient texts about what Mercury here can indicate. And one of the ancient texts I was saying that because Mercury is rising in a sign associated with the north direction, which are those signs that are associated with the north? These are Pisces, Cancer, and Scorpio, all the watery signs. Of course, the Sidereal ones, right? So, and the ancient texts are saying that when Mercury makes such important position in the chart of the beginning of the year, they say that then in the peoples inhabiting the northern areas of the earth, so in those peoples, both the rulers and the noblemen there, and also the common people, in them will appear much greater desire to have spiritual knowledge and progress, and also intellectual progress as well. So a good sign for spiritual awakening of some sort for the northern peoples. So this includes not only the Scandinavian peoples, of course. Of course, it is related to them, probably to a great extent, but also it is related to places like, I guess, Russia, Mongolia, even North Korea, I can say, Canada, northern places of US of A, and you name it, Japan, I guess. So all the more northern regions and peoples are related here. Hmm. And so this is a great thing, actually. But reflecting upon this, I remember that usually the spiritual progress is happening for a reason. Very often, when people feel motivated to do this, it is because they have gone through some sort of big tests, trials, and suffering. So it is possible that people in those regions will witness and suffer such things as well in order to have this progress. This is just a thought. It's not written in the ancient books. But I'm drawing this from another fact related to the rising Mercury. Mercury will be rising with specific star. Because Mercury is rising exactly in the very degree of this star, which is, this degree is the 5th degree, so this means 4 degrees and some minutes of Pisces. So when he appears there, it means in this place of the sky is following the ray of the fixed star called Shat. So the star Shat also will be very influential for the entire astrological year ahead, which means 12 months counted from 11th of March. So let's talk about the star. It is a star from the constellation of Pegasus, the legendary winged horse. By itself, Pegasus is a symbol of swift motion and development. I guess this is a good sign for companies like Tesla and those that are trying to develop a transportation industry, right? I think this is a good sign for them. However, otherwise, this star is also associated with other things. Like it is said that she's of the nature of Mars and Mercury. In other words, star of intelligence and bravery. In my opinion, very much related to secret actions and espionage. And then it shows that those type of actions, the secret ones and the organizations committed them, will be very, very crucial. They will have very crucial role this year. This is one of the things, however. Another thing Another thing is that this star is also considered already a long time by astrologers to be representing, it's the star of catastrophe and suicide, in short. And so when Mercury is there, what this means? In my opinion, it means much greater work on the psychological problems of people and for the world to happen, but also intellectuals, I guess, and maybe some people related to trade. Maybe they will have some more psychological problems for different reasons, right? It's a year when people should try to preserve better psychological balance because of this condition and interaction. Especially I'm talking about those who are ruled by Mercury, of course. By trade, this means people who are intellectuals, who are involved in trade, etc. But of course, Mercury is also representing in general people and humanity as well. He is ruling human-shaped signs, which the ancients are saying they are representing humanity in general. So those signs are Virgo and Gemini. In Sidereal signs, of course, I'm talking. In the so-called tropical Western zodiac, these are usually the signs Libra and Cancer. And so for the people who have such rising signs, those things also will be important. On the other hand, the star chart in part has this nature of Mercury as well. You remember I said the star is of the nature of Mars and Mercury. Mercury coinciding with this star means that it accentuates very much on the mercurial side of the star. So this gives great enhancement on the Mercury things, like intellectual progress and trade, I guess. Things like transportation will be important. Of course, this gives a big sign about the problems that we already know are existing. For the obstructions of the sea trade, for example, because Mercury and this star, they are related also to the constellation of Pisces, which is the sign of the ocean trade. So the crisis in the Gulf of Aden then is accentuated by this position. That's an important topic that is still to be becoming more critical, more difficult. Big accent of the air. And however, this combination, which means that potentially there will be in some places of the world much greater catastrophes and tragedies, maybe natural disasters. But of course, there can be also other type of crises as the world is becoming more and more intensely involved into conflicts. And Mercury, however, is a mostly benefic planet, especially in this case. And this means that in the combination with the star, he is accentuating on the ability and tension to help those who are suffering greatly, who are in a great tragedy and catastrophe. So charity, compassion, kindness, universal love are greatly indicated for the year. And something necessary and something that will also happen. So because of this condition of Mercury indicates definitely, as you can see, two sides of the matter, the problem and the need to resolve it by helping. And that's why I guess this will be one of the reasons for spiritual awakening. in certain places of the world, especially northern regions. Otherwise, the ancients are also describing what else such rising of Mercury as it is happening in this place of the sky. What is happening? Another thing is that this position where Mercury appears is very close to the actual place where the sun will be when the spring begins, the so-called spring equinox degree. And Mercury going there in the beginning of astrological year, of course, greatly amplifies his influence over the entire year. So as you can see, then this year is also fit for intellectual progress and development, I guess, for much more people than usual. In addition, when he rises in this place, as it is indicated, the ancients are saying certain specific things. What they say is that there will be opposition, there will be tension between rulers. And what is said, I think it is about rulers of countries. Position between rulers is indicated. So Mercury probably shows that there will be like big difference of opinions, and this will need some more negotiations, some more balance, of course. And we can easily see that this that the world is heading definitely this way more and more. So I guess in certain countries as well, this can happen also between like greater oppositions between differences of opinion between the ruling party and the opposition party and the people leading them. So this is also indicated here. And because this meaning is for a position of Mercury that actually influences the entire year, so this meaning of opposition of rulers to each other is a meaning for the entire year. Of course, this means that somehow this is like much more greatly indicated, more enhanced, more intensified than usual. In other words, this means diplomatic crisis, right? This is what they say. So I guess this is about Mercury, and especially about his appearance in this way. But let's talk a little bit more about Mercury, as I started already. Mercury will make two other very important positions throughout the month. For example, on the 24th of March, Mercury will reach his greatest elongation from the Sun. So this greater distance of Mercury from the Sun can vary, it can be different at times. But this is the moment when this happens, and this happens while Mercury is still in Pisces. And there is an ancient text saying what can be expected. What they say that there will be shipwrecks in oceans, seas, and rivers. 24th of March. Now, of course, those things sometimes happen, but I guess people who are traveling by sea and ocean must be more careful at that time. If anyone listens here, let's be more careful. Potentially, this is a sign of greater problems in the Gulf of Aden, the ocean disruption trade happening near the Arabic Peninsula. So
the Red Sea area, the Houthis and the whatever it was? Or?
yes. This is potentially a sign of much greater dangers happening for ships there. So I hope people who are related are hearing this, so that they be like additionally more prepared, more careful. So this is one thing that Mercury, according to the ancients, indicates. Of course, this sign, what they are writing, is based on hundreds and probably thousands of years of observation on their side about such things. So here we rely on the ancient tradition. Another thing also will happen later about Mercury. So it's a very interesting month about people ruled by Mercury. Obviously, as you can see, people ruled by Mercury, I already mentioned who are those, like Gemini rising, Virgo rising in Sidereal, Cancer and Libra in Western astrology science. And so they will feel like more empowered, I guess, motivated with the beginning of the year. But later, 24th of March, they should be more careful, obviously. But the elongation of Mercury is described in problematic terms. So everyone, be careful not to have a personal shipwreck in your life. And then in the last day of the month, 31st of March, Mercury is set also to disappear from the sky. He will become invisible. As the name of Mercury implies, you know, the metal Mercury is symbol also of changeability. Mercury makes such movements the entire year, many of them, like 3 times he gets retrograde, even more times he gets invisible and then visible, etc. So this is one of those moments. He disappears. In the last day of the month, he will be in the 2nd degree of the sidereal sign Aries. 2 degrees, some minutes. There is an ancient text corresponding about that. It concerns military matters, by the way. Because it is disappearing in a military sign. Aries has one definition that is said that he is a violent sign. So it's a sign of Mars. It's related to harsher conditions, conflicts, accidents, violence, etc. And so the ancients are saying when Mercury disappears there, that this means grief for the army. Grief for the army. They're not saying which army. This is something, I guess, more complex to try to discover. But Aries, by the way, is related to the West, according to Ptolemy, ancient astrologer from the 2nd century. So this can be an army somehow related to the West, actually. Not a good sign in the end of the month. Some reason for grief is there, according to the ancients. Of course, this can be for various reasons. So we will still see what this means. So watch the news in the end of the month, I guess. And so this is about Mercury. As you can see, Mercury has great influence over the year and over the month. He makes so important positions, literally the entire month. But of course, Mercury is not the only planet, not the only ruling principles that is in motion in the sky. So let's see what happens with some of the others as well. Of course, the other probably most important thing is the setting of Venus. Venus is about to disappear also in the end of the month. In different regions, this can happen in different days. So she's supposedly disappearing on the 29th of March. But as I'm saying, it can be a little different in different regions. Like more northern regions may see the setting earlier. For example. Others who are more to the south a little later. But in general, after the 22nd of March, Venus is considered already to be expressing very strongly her disappearance. She is becoming weaker and weaker each day and finally disappears. By the way, even now, in the evening, you can go out, look to Venus in the sky in western direction, and she's still the brightest star there. But you see how Venus already is not so bright as in other times. So the weakening of Venus already has begun. Each day of the month, she becomes weaker and weaker. So let's talk about that, what it means, Venus to be like this. In a way, Venus finishes her cycle. She has a cycle of 585 days for certain things, and this is one of them. And the finishing of a cycle is always related to accepting and receiving the results of whatever has been done before. So in other words, now we can have some good and bad results, depending on our past actions. And those results are related, of course, to love in first place. Venus, however, is not only the planet of intimate love. She is also a planet of universal love. So this will be expressed also on a mundane level. And thus, and the ancients are thinking in the following way. They are saying that if Venus disappears in the first month of the astrological year, then they say this means bad things for the entire year. They say ruin of the land. They say conflicts, military conflicts including. So this is a big sign actually. So I'll be talking a little more in the next video about that. But have this in mind, the disappearance of Venus in the first month of the year is a big sign that the entire world should think much more about peace and harmony and love and to try to follow those things, because there is a sign that we can lose a lot here in terms of peace, harmony, and balance in the world this year.
So you don't think any of the wars will finish the next 12 months because Venus disappears right when the year starts?
As the rising of Mercury implies, there will be a chance of communication, of negotiation, definitely. But the disappearance of Venus definitely shows that first there will be greater intensifying conflicts. The lack of Venus from the sky. This is especially between the end of March and beginning of July. This is the period when Venus will be invisible. So the problems are the most intense in those months, and especially in April. Especially in April, as it will be explained in the next.
Yeah. Your sound went muffled.
So is it good?
It's good. Yeah.
Okay. So as Venus indicates, she will be invisible 29th of March till 6th of July. And this is the period when love is somehow absent, going through a transformative spiritual process. But for the world, it means lack of peace, harmony, and love, right? So it means that it will be more difficult to achieve peace. Definitely. So any chances for improvement are then in the second half of the year. And I guess most of all in September. I have reasons for this. Okay. So Venus disappears. As you can see, it's very, very important. I will remind to all of you that the ancient astrologers created this legend of the descent of Venus in the underworld. It's a Mesopotamian legend, and Venus there is called Ishtar. And the legend symbolically describes what it means, invisible Venus. So literally, the joy of life disappears, right, in many ways. So it's not good for also for fertility, including the legend indicates about agriculture.
But people still get pregnant when Venus is invisible, or wait, less than normal.
Of course, there are also personal cycles, but surely, even those who have okay, let's talk about that. Venus disappearing is not something that has to be feared. In a sense, this is also true for any disappearance of any planet, in a sense that she gives the consequences of past actions. So what will happen only depends on if you made mistakes before. And here the consequences are coming. So, for example, on personal level, people who have stable relationships, they do not have to fear separate in this period. But the others who are not actually in a true love relationship, I mean on both sides, then this will be very much evident. I will give you an example for all of you. Venus was actually invisible for a short time last year. She disappeared around 26th of July, and she reappeared, I think it was around 17th of August, like 20 days. So many of you may remember now what they have gone through in terms of personal life in that specific time. But it was only a short time, it was 20 days. This time Venus will be disappearing for 3 months. April, May, and June she will be invisible, like around 97 days, almost 100 days, which is a pretty good number. And this is a time of spiritual transformation and synthesis in terms of the values of love. So everyone will go through some transformational process in those months. Luckily, Venus not in those months not always is very weak by sign. She will have 2 moments when she's in exaltation sign and then in her own sign, so there will be much help in the process. So this is not so bad as it may be in other cases. So it's just a natural process that happens to everyone. And of course, Venus rules certain houses in anyone's horoscope. Those houses will suffer ineffectiveness, whatever they are, right? Most of all, this is true for people who have Venus sign rising in first place, like Sidereal ascendant Taurus and Libra. And in Western astrology, they are considered 90% to be Gemini and Scorpio. So those people in the end of March, especially already from the 22nd March, they will definitely feel going a little bit into crisis, being not so effective. Even I can say, especially people who are with Taurus rising or in Sidereal or Gemini in tropical, they should take care a little bit more about work and health as well. This is for the reason that for them, Venus rules also their 6th house, the house of those topics. But the truth is that the disappearance of Venus is important for each and every one of us. And she combines also with the disappearance of Mercury. Mercury also rules 2 signs, and he will be invisible until June, 2 months. And this means that the rulers of the 1/3 of our horoscopes will become ineffective and will go into spiritual transformation phase. And so in this way, we can see that even if I don't look at anything else, I see that the period of April and May is somehow more challenging for people and the world in general, even only for these reasons. So we have this. By the way, I have my shirt today saying good vibration. Good vibrations. So smile. There is even this skull here. So.
If we're gonna look like that with good vibrations, like a skull.
So remember, these are natural processes. And remember, Jupiter is still visible. And Jupiter is powerful. Jupiter is powerful, being in a fire sign in Aries. So now let's talk, I guess, about him. We know that Venus is finishing a cycle. Let's say that whoever deserves it, whoever was doing the right things, now Venus will give him his results, his reward. So his reward will come, and so towards the beginning of the spring, there will be many people who are ruled by Venus who will actually first see great results in their lives. Please remember this, and these results are about love, about having better life in general, even financial results for many. So it's not bad, as you can see, depends on the past. What have you done in the past? Venus will show you now. And so we can see accomplishments, for example, in art this month. There will be some great results about spirituality and about art and about love. And then there will be a transitional phase towards new cycle in July. And now let's go to Jupiter situation. One curious thing about Jupiter for this month is that he will go in an interesting place. What I mean, the so-called royal degree. The royal degree, which is the 19th degree of Aries, according to the ancient tradition. Of course, I'm talking in Sidereal. So this is the degree of the exaltation of the sun. That's why it's called royal. And Jupiter goes there very rarely, once in 12 years, which is his cycle. And what this possibly can mean, right? So I guess, judging from some astrologic that can be applied here, it can mean certain kings will have some additional things to resolve in their lives. And including they should be more careful health-wise. I know some things about the British monarchs, etc., that are there on the news. But in addition, Jupiter here must indicate better time for other people who are potentially being rising to a kingly position that time. Let's say it in this way. So, and this is a sign that potentially some of the people with royal positions will definitely have greater spiritual progress. Unfortunately, from the position of Aries, Jupiter rules also the 12th house. And this means that there can be some greater health-related issues to be resolved. But the nature of Jupiter is such that it allows to be resolved. So this is about it, about Jupiter. Let's see what else is happening. There is a certain moment when Mars goes into the degree of his exaltation. This is happening on the 13th of March. The exaltation of Mars is 27 degrees Capricorn. So even though Mars is invisible now, he is considered to be protected by his invisibility while he is in the sign of his exaltation. And so he reaches this greatest position for Mars in this moment. And around that time, we can see intensification of military conflicts. Also, this is good for people who are ruled by Mars. Those who are ruled by Mars, they have ascendant Aries, ascendant Scorpio in Sidereal, but Taurus and Sagittarius in tropical Western astrology used signs. And this will be the moment of their exaltation, like feeling great, having greater, better results of their actions. So as you can see, for some people, these are good times. But after this, on the 15th of March, Mars is quitting his sign of exaltation and enters Aquarius. There, Saturn awaits for him to make a conjunction, which will happen in April. But technically, Mars begins the conjunction on the 15th of March. So, from this point of view, 15th of March marks the beginning of worsening the situation in the world a little bit. Why is that? First, because Mars approaches Saturn. Secondary, because Aquarius is a sign of a human shape. The angel of the four animals of the Bible. So Mars enters there, and this indicates greater conflicts, and somehow a little bit greater troubles for the world starting to develop in that time more intensely. Mars is also in the sign of Aquarius, which is considered to be also the sign of freedom and friendship. Now, as Mars and Saturn will be in this sign, it's time for people to be more careful about their friends and friendships, about the connections with others. And definitely Mars here will intensify any fights and conflicts related to search for freedom of any kind, anywhere in the world, especially in, of course, such countries like the Arabian countries, because Arabia is considered to be related to Aquarius, but Aquarius is also, in some of the ancient definitions, is also the sign of Ukraine. Personally, I consider it also related to some of the Scandinavian countries. It is related to Brazil, it is related to Canada. In all those countries, there will be a little bit more trouble. And also, people will be tending to fight more aggressively for their rights and freedom. So, and because Saturn is there, there are like heavy obstacles, heavy challenges. In astrology, for example, in India, Mars is an enemy to Saturn, but Saturn is neutral to Mars. This has importance. So in a way, Mars will try to overcome the challenges, obstacles represented by Saturn. Saturn can represent all kinds of beliefs and understandings that are like a wall of limitation for the world and certain people and peoples. So it will be interesting time, definitely. Mars and Saturn start to align. Beware people who have rising sign Aquarius or any Aquarius in your chart. This is, of course, the sidereal Aquarius, which 90% of the cases in tropical signs, Western astrology, it is Pisces. So for those people, definitely next 2 months are much more challenging. They hold, however, also the promise of achievement, but people cannot be idle in this time. More about this next month. All right, let's see what else. Okay. 18th of March. Saturn enters certain specific, very special degrees in Aquarius. There are some stars that represent the water that is sprouting from the pot of Aquarius. We can say this is the water of life. It is related to healing, it is related to spirituality. However, it is also literally related to water itself. Now, Saturn there, these are just some faults in the matter. Maybe indicates danger of pollution for the waters of the world and their bad condition, and that we should be more careful what's happening with waters in general. And obviously, there will be more troubles of bad events of any kinds happening at water, the oceans, at rivers. Saturn will be there for 2-3 weeks. So even I can say starting in that time and the entire of April is there. So this, of course, we can easily make some conclusions about that. Another meaning, however, I think it is this can invite greater crisis related to the medical community, to the condition of medicine, and the people who are practicing this, and to organizations related. So those people can have greater tests and troubles. Let's remember, however, Saturn's intention is always to bring order. And this order, of course, always comes at the price of one's understanding and knowledge or ignorance. So depends what people are involved. What will be the result? Usually Saturn in Aquarius will give good results. Another thing, those degrees are related to spiritual people as well. So they will face greater tests and tribulations. And some of them will face the loss of time. All right. One thing remains that is of importance. 19th of March. As you can see, those days like 15th, 16th, 18th, 19th are pretty much like intense. So the 19th of March, Mercury again makes conjunction with the North Node. This is happening in Pisces. Well, this again means there can be disruptions on the sea trade, greater ones. In general, this is important times for the markets. So some people will have profits, others will lose in a bigger way that time. I guess it can be related also to Bitcoin prices, right?
Rising up.
But people be careful, especially those who are ruled by Mercury. In that time, not to become like victims of their desires, or in general, it's good to not to travel on this day, I think, 19th of March. This is a day where greater number of people can have more psychological problems as well, as the North Node is said to be of the nature of Saturn. So it can represent certain limitations that people can face. On the other hand, the North Node is, in the material world, also related to some intensifying of energies. And Mercury there very often in the, for example, financial astrology indicates big changes in the markets. So, final conclusions. As you can see, the month is intense. Everything that happens in the month is actually important for the entire year. Each one of those things will have big effects for the entire 12 months afterwards. I will just talk about Venus, I forgot to say. Venus is disappearing, already in the end of the month, but on the 22nd of March, the beginning of her disappearance in the ancient rules, she also meets with conjunction with Saturn.
Mm.
So it's like especially painful death or ending, I can say. Very resolute putting of an end in a way, but also it can give to people, because this is a Venus that is still visible, finishing her cycle, etc. There are some people that will actually benefit from this. So of course, not those that are ruled by Venus. So not the young and beautiful women, for example, the models, not the artists or any people related to art. All those people can face certain greater limitations and obstructions at that time, and personal crisis in different ways. However, those who are ruled by Saturn, like having ascendant Capricorn and Aquarius in sidereal signs, but Aquarius and Pisces in Western astrology signs, Venus potentially will give them the rewards of the things that they deserve, the good ones also, in this specific moment. This can be in so many different ways, but it can be definitely related to friendship and freedom as well, like achieving something that they desire, for example. So in this way, I'm demonstrating that each conjunction, even if it looks negative on one side, it's always having a very positive side as well. So Capricornian people,
Like
go forward towards the 22nd. I think this is enough for now.
The
There are,
eclipse,
of course, many other things happening.
the eclipse on the 25th in Sidereal Virgo falls on that star that you said that has special sexual powers or attractive powers.
Well, I can only say here that those who are as Venus is setting and with Saturn, etc., the accent on this star with the eclipse means that those women and also people who are practicing, the bad side of sexuality and relationships. And here I mean about those related to prostitution, very bad secret affairs, etc.
Mm-hmm.
And some famous mama-san, so to say, like people ruling brothels, etc. Well, those people will face great problems this month.
Mm-hmm.
This is at least the sign of the health. So I guess they should be more careful at least about their health.
There might be some candle related to something like that as well, something to do with sex and manipulation and so on.
Of course, this is definitely bad signs when Venus goes associated with Saturn, when there is accent on this star. It definitely is a sign that things like the exploitation of sexuality may go worse in the world. And this then, I guess it's a call for people who are trying to prevent such things to be much more careful now.
Mm.
Including on personal level, including for many people ruled by Venus. These are especially the young, the beautiful women, but also artists, people related to art and those professions related to Venus, like fashion, design, but also all the hairdress salons, etc. So such type of people that are related to Venus may experience some more issues in this period. But definitely, if we have somebody who is like very famous in relation to things like prostitution, sexual affairs, so I guess this eclipse will show big scandals about that. And also, people who are famous for such things, some of them will pass in that time. Yeah, this is
On
the
that
sign.
positive note, kidding.
The positive is that Venus will give good results until the end of the month. This is the positive for those who are deserving it, right? That's it. This is very positive, actually, right?
Let's say on this negative news for the red light districts, but maybe positives for wives. I'm just kidding. But thank you so much, Trifon.
Well, when Venus becomes invisible, of course, what is happening is that this will be the time of the secret relationships,
Oh, yeah.
right? So this will be those 3 months that she will be invisible. These are the things that can happen because it's invisible Venus, invisible love, secret love. Actually. But all this is problematic, right? It's not advice to people. Follow. So anyway, however, this exists in the world, and this will be the time.
Thank you so much, Trifon. Thank you, everyone, for joining us again. If you'd like to contact Trifon for a reading, again, he has a very nice discount, especially for love and relationships. As you've heard, it might be a little bit more difficult for, especially if you're in some kind of an unstable relationship as well. Or if you're planning for anything else, again, contact Trifon. Every month he offers a different kind of a discount reading. Still, his prices are very affordable. He hasn't raised them in a while. So thank you for that, Trifon. And yes, thank you again for all the incredible insight. And may we all be safe with the start of eclipse season. And so many, planets disappearing, appearing, disappearing on both ends.
Yeah, love and compassion will be the most important with the conditions of Mercury and Venus and the coming conjunction of Saturn and Mars. So I think everyone should focus on those things.
Beautiful. Thank you.
Take care, everyone.